Welcome to Sportsball Roundup.
Yeah!
Now here's your hosts, Devin and Reese.
Hello and welcome to Sportsball Roundup. I am Devin. Joining me is my co-host Reese. And Reese, oh man, it's it's the holidays. It's been kind of crazy leading up to the holidays, but I'm glad to be back. I don't know about you, but I'm glad to be back.
I am also glad to be back, and it's been a while, and a lot of stuff has happened since we did this last.
Let's get into it. First, we've got since the last podcast, we have a World Series champion.
We do.
The Rangers win their first World Series in franchise history by defeating the Arizona Diamondbacks 4-1. So congratulations, Texas, and no one thought they could do it. No one thought the Diamondbacks could be there either. So it was honestly a battle of the underdogs.
And it was kind of a refreshing World Series for just overall baseball fans, instead of seeing the normal teams in there like the Dodgers and Astros,
the Dodgers, yeah,
and even some middle class teams like Brewers or something. Kind of just like no one expected these two in the World Series, and I kind of liked it.
I do. That was a good series. Honestly, that was a good playoffs. I enjoyed postseason baseball this past season. Moving on to sports that are currently being played. The NBA, the Celtics lead the East, and the Timberwolves lead the West. The in-season tournament group winners, because the in-season tournament is going on at this moment. By the way, the courts, god-awful. They're ugly.
Yeah.
So if you guys have time to Google court NBA in-season tournament courts, yeah, do that. It's gross. It's gross.
Yeah, be ready to cover your eyes.
Right. It's gross.
Yeah. They had the potential to be good,
but they didn't.
If they just copy and pasted the tournament championship on each one of the courts, which I get, but I don't like, because I mean, it's not on the other regular courts that you see a championship at mid-court. You don't have the NBA championship on every single regular team's court. So why put this?
Right, they had to include the trophy.
Yeah, I just think that made it look even weirder.
Yeah,
to me.
You're right. So they had to build all their logos and stuff around the trophy, and it's kind of weird. And also the color schemes on most of the courts are stupid.
Yeah.
The group winners, the East have, in the A group, the Pacers won. The B group, the Bucks advance. The C group, the Celtics advance. The Knicks grab the East wildcard spot, and the Suns get West wildcard spot. And the West, actual group winners are Lakers in the A, Pelicans in the B, and Kings in the C. The knockout matchups on the 4th are the Celtics at Pacers and Pelicans at Kings. And the 5th has the Knicks at Bucks and Suns at Lakers, with December 7th being the semifinals and December 9th being the in-season tournament championship in Las Vegas. So there you have NBA rundown. Moving on to a wild college football picture. Let's try to make sense of this insane week 13. Leading off, we'll skip past the hometown teams for a second because I want to do a deeper dive. So we'll go. Oregon defeats Oregon State 31-7. Nothing really special there, you know.
Yeah.
Michigan beats Ohio State in what they label as the game. 30-24. Michigan wins third straight against Ohio State to advance to the Big Ten championship and potentially the college football playoffs. Kentucky upsets number 10 Louisville 38-31. Oklahoma State holds off BYU 40-34 in double overtime. So they couldn't even decide it in regular overtime. They both scored, I believe, and had to go into double overtime. And Oklahoma State gets a tutty, and I think they intercept BYU to win the game.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. And so they Oklahoma State advances to Big 12 title game where they will face Texas. Alabama escapes Auburn 27-24. That last sequence of events shows you the difference in coaching between Alabama and Auburn, because they had been pressuring Alabama and their quarterback all game long, making him throw mistake after mistake. And you know what? They were doing that the last drive. That is why it was like, what, 4th and like 20 or something like that?
Yeah, it was a long fourth down.
It was a very long 4th down because the mistake prior to that was a botched snap that went like 10 yards past the quarterback, and they just had to fall on it. And the play before that, I think, was like a false start or something.
Might have been, yeah.
So yeah, they were back a long way, and like this was like what, like, I don't know, less than a minute. I think it was less than like 30 seconds, wasn't it?
Yeah.
At the end of this, at the end. And so what ended up happening is, you know, Alabama was down. They needed a touchdown to win this game. They couldn't kick a field goal. That was out of the question. So what did they do? Auburn rushed only 2 players and put everybody else deep. And Alabama had enough time in the pocket to throw an absolute dime, like laser guided pass to the back corner of the end zone where only his receiver could get it. He got it, fell inbounds, touchdown Alabama. Alabama wins on just a bonehead decision by Auburn to just rush 2. That is usually what you do, but the reason why you were there in that situation to win the game in the first place was that you had been pressuring that quarterback all game long, making him throw mistake after mistake. So yeah. I don't agree with that play call. And that, I think that play right there, that play call lost them the game. And while I'm looking up the next game, you got any thoughts on that, Reese?
Not really. I think you covered that, but I'll just touch on the game itself. Alabama-Auburn usually always delivers a good one. It did again this week, obviously. It just seems that every year this game comes down to the wire. And I mean, it's a it's a rivalry game, so you would expect it to, and I just I can't believe Alabama pulled it out. But like you said, only rushing two is you can't do it against Alabama and their quarterbacks.
Yeah, they're gonna find a way to beat you if you just rush two. If you don't pressure them at all, they're gonna beat you.
Yeah.
Washington, last second field goal, walk-off field goal to beat Washington State 24-21. Honestly, Washington, that was the least impressive game I've seen by them so far. But they found a way to win. So I guess, credit goes to them. Florida State defeats Florida 24-15. The weakest number one in college football, Georgia, holds off Georgia Tech 31-23. And Iowa State stuns Kansas State 42-35.
That was just a crazy game.
Dude, I turned it on. I turned away to use the bathroom. I shouldn't have.
I did not think it was going to be that.
Their first freaking play from scrimmage.
Yeah. I did not think it was going to be that high scoring when I turned it on because it was a blizzard.
Right.
In Kansas.
Probably because it's a blizzard and they just, I don't know, maybe they couldn't see him.
That could be true.
I don't know, but that was wild.
Yeah.
That entire game was wild. Iowa State. And yeah, Sama ended the day with 3 rushing touchdowns. First of which happened like the first play from scrimmage. He ended the day with 16 overall rushes for 276. It was just the craziest game in a blizzard that I've seen. Honestly, the highest scoring game in a blizzard I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And now we got to go back to the game we've wanted to talk about this entire podcast.
What, you mean the most stressful game of the entire week?
Yeah.
I wonder what that could be.
Iowa beat Nebraska on another walk-off field goal. The first of the day. They played earlier than Washington. Or I guess Washington played the next day, but the first walk-off field goal of the weekend to win it 13-10. The last series, the last couple minutes went like this. It was tied at 10. Iowa needed to march down the field and kick a field goal, in enough time to leave Nebraska out to dry. Deacon Hill throws an interception. And at that point, I thought that the game was over. That Nebraska is going to march down the field and walk off with the field goal. But in true Nebraska fashion, Chubba Purdy, Brock's younger brother, throws an interception of his own, and Iowa is the one to march down the field and kick a field goal. Mind you, the last couple field goal attempts, there was 2 blocked field goals in that game, but Nebraska blocked 2 of Iowa's field goals. Mm-hmm. But Kirk Ferentz substituted our normal kicker with our backup kicker, who had never kicked a field goal in a game before, walks off with a win. Iowa 13, Nebraska 10. Keeping Nebraska bowl ineligible for the 7th straight year. And Iowa is moving on to the Big Ten title game to face, well, what we touched on earlier in the podcast, Michigan. Now, here's some facts. These are not made up. These are facts, Reese.
Mm-hmm.
We said it earlier. Nebraska not bowl eligible for the 7th straight year. The longest bowl drought in Power 5. Iowa leads the Iowa-Nebraska Heroes game, 9 wins to 4 since Nebraska joined the Big Ten. Like we said, the backup kicker, Marshall Meter, kicks the game winner. Iowa 18-1 in November games since 2019. Nebraska loses its 4th straight game, and we already touched on Nebraska has the longest bowl drought in Power 5. And you want to know something else, Reese?
Huh.
I know we touched on this earlier before the podcast, Reese, but I'd like to share with the audience that Nebraska has not made a bowl game since 2016, which means that they have not made a bowl game since Obama left office.
Wow. That is a long time.
Yeah. Remember Obama? Yeah. So does
I do
Nebraska.
remember Obama.
So does Nebraska. That's the last time they made a bowl game.
Wow.
So that is a struggling program.
Yeah, was that when what didn't they have Lincoln Riley for like a couple years?
Yeah,
Because
was that era or was that? No. You're right.
It might have been just before Frost.
Or it might have been Frost year 1.
It could be.
It was either Lincoln Riley or Frost year 1, because I know that the year prior to that, I'm pretty sure the year prior to that was the UCF parade, right?
Yeah.
Where they threw their own natty parade, even though they weren't even in the playoffs.
Yeah. Because they went undefeated. Yeah, and then Frost left after that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was that year. It was 2015. So it may have been Frost year 1. Yeah, Frost year 1. So regardless, been a long time.
Yes. Yeah, still a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time, but moving ahead, we got the college football playoff rankings, the second to last college football rankings. So, obviously, Georgia remains at number 1. Like I said before, weakest number 1 that I've seen. Michigan is now number 2, moves up 1. Washington is number 3, moves up 1. Florida is number 4. Or Florida State, I'm sorry, is number 4, moves up 1. Oregon is number 5, moves up 1. Ohio State plummets down 4 to number 6 because of the loss in the game. Texas is 7. That remains unchanged. Alabama stays at 8. Missouri stays at 9. Penn State moves up 1 to take the 10th spot. Ole Miss moves up 1 to take 11. Oklahoma moves up 1 to take 12. LSU moves up 1 to take 13. Louisville plummets 4 down to 14. Arizona remains at 15. Iowa just moves up 1 to take 16. Notre Dame moves up 1 to take 17. OK State moves up 2 to take 18. NC State moves up 3 to take 19. Oregon State moves down 4 to take number 20. Number 21 remains Tennessee. Number 22 is Tulane, moved up 1 to get there. Clemson moves up 1 to take the 23rd spot. Liberty moves up 1, take number 24, and K-State after losing badly to Iowa, moves down 6 and is the last man on the totem pole at number 25. So, like we said, we've got, Big Ten playoff or Big Ten championship to look forward to, Reese, and we've been in this situation before.
Yeah, we have.
We have all season. I mean, this is nothing new.
Incredibly, it's not. It's incredible, really.
It's incredible and incredibly frustrating, both.
That too. Yeah. Yeah. Too much.
It's rough. I wish that I wouldn't have to worry about my health every time I watch Iowa, but we're here now.
Yeah.
We made it this far, Reese.
Right. Like,
So,
and everybody says a win's a win. Like,
but you know what? They're
right.
right.
But I mean, they're right.
It shouldn't have to be this way, but if it is going to be this way, I'm glad that we're on the right side of it.
Yes.
Because the only game, let's be honest with ourselves. The only game that wasn't a heart attack, there were 2 of them actually. Western Michigan, and then which was a heart attack for a while.
Right. Yeah.
And the Penn State game.
Unfortunately, yes.
So yeah,
yes.
I mean, all of the other ones have been heart attacks, but we've come out on the right side. So real quick, we'll move on to next week and kind of preview that. The Pac-12's got Oregon versus Washington on Friday, actually. What is that? Conference USA?
Yep.
Championship has New Mexico versus Liberty. Saturday, obviously, you got Michigan versus Iowa for the Big Ten title. The MAC championship has Miami of Ohio versus Toledo. Big 12's got Oklahoma State versus Texas. Mountain West has Boise State versus UNLV. The SEC has Georgia versus Alabama. The AAC has SMU versus Tulane. The Sun Belt has Appalachian State versus Troy. And the ACC champ has Louisville and Florida State. And real quick, we got to mention this. Iowa punter Tory Taylor, famous for keeping Iowa in games, is 281 yards shy of breaking the record for most punt yards in a season, previously held by Idaho punter Bobby Cohen, in 2011 with 4,084 yards. Taylor currently sits 11th with 3,803 punt yards this season, averaging 47.5 yards a punt. Leads the country with 80 total punts this season.
80 punts.
Yeah,
It's
a lot.
That describes the season, I guess. Yeah.
Yep, punt and defense.
Wow.
So we'll have to see what happens come Saturday. That's 7:00 kick?
Yep.
All right,
Yes,
real quick, we'll go through NFL Week 12. Thursday, Thanksgiving, starts off with a bang. Packers upset the Lions 29-22. No one saw that coming. Ruined a lot of people's wallets.
Yes.
Not mine. I didn't bet on the game.
Smart.
Cowboys destroy the Commanders. Love that use of terms. 45-10. Dak Prescott, 22 for 32, 331, 4 TDs, and
another Cowboys victory
over a bad team.
over a bad team. over a team that
Yeah.
is under 500.
Yeah. 49ers beat Seahawks 31-13. McCaffrey, 19 rushes, 114 yards, 2 touchdowns. NFL's first Black Friday game ever. Dolphins beat the Jets 34-13. And we move on to Sunday. Steelers beat the Bengals 16-10. Jaguars hold off the Texans 24-21. Titans beat the Panthers 17-10. Falcons take down the Saints 24-15. Colts beat Bucks 27-20. Giants beat Patriots 10-7 in a snoozer of a game. Broncos take down the Browns 29-12. Rams defeat the Cardinals 37-14. Eagles beat the Bills in a weird overtime game. Josh Allen went 29 for 51, 339, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and 2 rushing touchdowns. Jalen Hurts 18 for 31, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and also 2 rushing touchdowns. Chiefs beat the Raiders 31-17. Ravens beat Chargers 20-10, with Lamar Jackson becoming the fastest QB in history to 5,000 career rushing yards. And in Monday night, the game that we all should sue.
I thought it was the best game of the week. What are you talking about?
The Bears beat the Vikings 12-10, and Bears walk-off field goal, and only had field goals. They had that game saw 5 total field goals and only 1 touchdown between the two teams. And the Bears were not the ones to score the field goal. Or the touchdown. It was the Vikings. However, the Vikings still lost somehow. And if you look at that score, Reese, do you know who would have beat the Bears?
Iowa.
The Iowa Hawkeyes by 1 point. And they call us bad. That game, nobody wanted to win that game.
No, not even the Bears.
Nope. They wanted to tank to keep their number 1 pick for Caleb.
Yeah, and Josh Dobbs didn't want him. I think he had 4 interceptions in the game.
He did have 4 interceptions. That was an ugly game, both sides.
Not good.
Now, Week 13's buys are going to decimate my fantasy because Buffalo and Minnesota are on bye. That takes care of Josh Allen and TJ, so I'll have to fill those. Also joining Buffalo and Minnesota on bye are Baltimore, Chicago, Las Vegas, and New York Giants. So Thursday Night Football has the Seahawks at Cowboys. The noon slate on Sunday has Cardinals at Steelers, Broncos at Texans, Chargers at Patriots, Lions at Saints, Falcons at Jets, Colts at Titans, Dolphins at Commanders. The 3 o'clock slate has Panthers at Bucks, Browns at Rams, 49ers at Eagles. Sunday Night Football has Chiefs and Packers. And Monday Night Football has Bengals at Jags. And here's a look at the standings. The AFC East has the Dolphins at 8-3, Bills at 6-6, Jets at 4-7, Patriots at 2-9. The North has Ravens at 9-3, Steelers at 7-4, tied with the Browns also at 7-4, and Bengals at 5-6. The South has Jaguars 8-3, the Colts at 6-5, the Texans tied with the Colts also at 6-5, and the Titans at 4-7. The West have Chiefs at 8-3, Broncos at 6-5, Raiders at 5-7, and Chargers at 4-7. Now moving on to the NFC, the East has the Eagles at 10-1. Their only loss being to Zach Wilson's Jets. The Cowboys are second at 8-3. Giants and Commanders are tied for the bottom at 4-8. Lions hold the NFC North at 8-3. The Vikings at 6-6. The Packers at 5-6 and the Bears at 4-8. The South, the Falcons and the Saints are tied for first at 5-6. Buccaneers are 4-7, and the Panthers are struggling at 1-10. In the NFC West, you've got the 49ers on top at 8-3, followed by the Seahawks at 6-5, the Rams at 5-6, and the Cardinals at 2-10. Any last thoughts before we head out, Reese?
I don't have much to add, but just keep an eye on the Chiefs-Packers game this Sunday night.
Will do, and as always, we will keep you updated on next week's show. But for Reese, I am Devin. You've been listening to Sportsball Roundup. Have yourselves a wonderful day.